look, what are you doing for your retirement? Because they come from beliefs and, parents who were always, under the belief of only have like really low debt, paid off as soon as possible. Money's bad, or there was quite a lot of limiting beliefs, and I'm noticing that I'm slowly unpicking that and creating more positive beliefs.
You're listening to Property Investor Tales, stories from the front yard.
Hello and welcome to Property Investor Tales, stories from the front yard, where I get to speak to property investors from around Australia about their investing journey. My name is Karen Chavez and I'm one of the coaches here at Positive Real Estate, where we help people build wealth through property. With over 8,000 clients across Australia and New Zealand, there are some incredible stories to tell, which hopefully make your investment journey that little bit easier and will inspire you along the way. So my guest today is the fabulous Courtney, and we discuss the power of just getting started, the importance of goals and working as a team with your significant other, and overcoming limiting beliefs around money and being worthy of building wealth. So enjoy this conversation with Courtney. Hey everyone, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Karen Chavez, and today I'm hosting the podcast with our fabulous guest, Courtney. Welcome to the podcast, Courtney.
Hello. Thank you, Karen. Thanks for having me so much. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. So look, Courtney, we'll get straight into it. You've got a fabulous story to share, which is why we've invited you on here. So let's just start with, and just getting a bit of an introduction about yourself, maybe just share a bit about who you are, maybe what you do, or where you've where you've come from to kind of get to here today. I think is a great story.
Cool. Thank you. So I'm on this journey with my fiance, Marv. He couldn't be here today because he's had a workplace accident yesterday.
Yes.
So he's here in spirit
today.
and surgery today. So yes, he couldn't be here.
Sorry,
sadly,
Marv, we miss you.
I know, I love you. But so if I just take it back a little bit more, I purchased my first property in the ACT in 2016. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit, and I kind of just stumbled across it with my friend because she was in property as well, and she was like, hey, look at this property, it's going up for sale, like off the plan, sorry.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what property was. I had no idea. I kind of just went with the flow. They were only asking for a $5,000 deposit. Which was really appealing, obviously.
Good old Canberra and their 5K deposits.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, 5K, boom, let's put that down. And then from then I knew that it was serious, and I really had to keep saving just to meet that, as much deposit as I can get for that deadline when they settle.
Yeah.
So that was the start of my journey in property investing.
So in that place and doing that, so you put down a $5,000 deposit with really just a bit of on a whim almost. Then who did you go to? How did you get some advice around that to actually complete the purchase? Because, that's then a whole new reality, as you said, of like, I had to actually then go, I've got to actually save some money now.
She knew a mortgage broker in Canberra. So it was all just from my friend. What is it? Sorry. When you suggest friends.
Yeah, recommend.
Recommendations, yeah. So it was just through a mortgage broker, and they helped me organize some funds. And sorry, what was your question?
Oh yeah, just where you got advice from, like you sort of jumped into this purchase with really kind of no clue. In a sense, kind of go, okay, I've got this time now, I've got to save some money. How long did you have to wait for the property to be built?
I think it was 12 months initially, and then it went over 6 months. So I think I was really happy with that actually, because then I had longer to save, and that would mean less LMI,
Yes.
mortgage insurance, that I had to pay. So
Yes.
that was, I was very thankful for that actually.
Yeah. And
But it
then
was kind of good because I really had to knuckle down, because now I had this huge commitment, and if I didn't, then I don't know what would have happened. But I purchased it for 390,000 for a two-beddy, and now it's valued at around 550, I think.
Yes, it
Which
is.
is pretty
Yeah,
good.
which is
Yeah.
great. And there's a great lesson in there, in that a lot of people do need that kind of almost like a kick in the pants to sort of have the goal and have the hard target of being able to stop whatever they're doing and I just need to save. I've got this thing I've got to do now. And I remember, personally, when my first partner and I bought a house in Sydney, we did the same thing. We just literally went in with a low deposit, and we had to save while the house was being built, and it was just insane.
Yeah.
But you just know you've got to do it. So, and it's sometimes it's just that process of you never would have done it otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. And I was always a good saver too, because from mum and dad, they were always like, yep, you got to pay off your home, you got to save, you got to have buffers. So I think that was really instilled in me from an early age, which is good. But on the flip side, I also partied a lot and spent a lot of money traveling. I traveled so much, probably more than $100,000 worth of travel.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. Imagine how many deposits that would have been back then. But so
hindsight's a wonderful thing.
it is definitely. Yeah.
And I know, even since we've been working together, you are very goal driven, and I've seen that in you. So I can see just how much having that goal would have really pushed you to meet it. So and then obviously you did that one on your own.
Yes.
And then you've met Marv after that, and I know that's been a great relationship and continuing. I think you got engaged.
We got engaged. It was very exciting. So we've been together 3 years now. And that was because I was kind of floating around after buying that first property. I didn't really have any goals or aspirations to be a property investor. But I just knew there was something in me that knew that was a great vehicle for wealth. I didn't have that knowledge or the words to articulate that, but I had this feeling. Maybe watching the media and whatever, even though that's not always very good. But so I was kind of floating around, and then I met Marv, and we were like, okay, this is my person. Let's create a future together. And from then we really knuckled down and structured everything that we had the knowledge for, to save and to think of our future. And I think that's what brought me to PRE as well, like with Marv, because we were like, we need help. I want to reach out and find someone that can help us, because just us on our own, it was a bit daunting and not knowing what direction to go.
And I remember when you started, and one of the things that I really admired actually about you and Marv when I met you was that you were, as a couple, you were just completely all in together. There was no, this is my money, this is your money, and this is my property. And you were just all in from day one. And I do see that that's a huge advantage when I see couples that kind of keep things separate. And there's no right or wrong, but to have everything together and be on the same page, you do get some really good runs on the board. And I know within a reasonably short period of time, you were able to go on and get your next property from there.
Yes. So we settled. It is. We settled in October 2022. So just a few months ago, in the Gold Coast. So we bought a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, beautifully all renovated with a pool home, and it will be our future home when we start to have a family and have kids.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been interesting settling into that, especially with the interest rate rises and all of that. But yeah, the early days I think have just been a bit rocky with settling into this new mortgage. And I can tell you a bit about that if you want. Yeah, we have so the positives, let's start with some positives.
Yeah, let's start with positives.
Yeah, the real estate agent gave us a rental appraisal when we were looking at the property initially, and I think it was only, they were 700 to 750. And we were like, okay, that was in September 2022. And I was like, okay, yep, there. Didn't really know much about the Gold Coast rental market or anything. And when we, so it was about a month later, we settled and we put the property up for rent. And I was like, let's go for 950. Let's just, because I was watching the market and just having a look at other rentals in the area. And so we put it up for 950, and within 7 minutes they had 7 applications for our home. And
one higher.
yeah, and the people that actually we signed on offered 975 a week, which is amazing. We budgeted on 700 and was able to get 975, which is just so grateful.
Excellent in this current environment. Interest rate rises.
Yes. So that was the first really great positive. And of course, we went and had a look at the property, we actually bought it sight unseen. So once we settled, we had a look and we just absolutely loved it. But along the way, before the tenants even got in there, we had to get a waterwise compliance certificate. And the plumber discovered that the DIY renovations prior to us moving in there, he had stuffed the hoses in the master vanity and like really kinked them between the wall cavity. So yeah, there was a shortage of water in the kitchen. Anyway, it was a whole thing. And so we had to get plumbers and fix it, and tried to go back to the vendor to, try and reimburse us with some of the costs. But that was just something that you can't expect them to pay, because that's just what you buy, an existing property. Even all the due diligence that we could have done, some of these things, I guess, like that, couldn't have been seen until, because no one was living in the property. So there was no water usage. So yes, that was quite fun.
The downside of the buying something that's a little bit older and or renovated in this case, and it's been a bit of a DIY renovation. The strategy there was to secure something in the market while the market was a little bit cooler, when there was less buyers around, to try to get something ready for you when you move up there. Knowing that when you did go, the rental market was crazy, and that to maybe buy a home at even a little bit later might have been a completely different story. So it was just really capitalizing on that sort of slowdown in the market that we're just experienced. But yes, the buying, people often want to compare buying new versus old properties, and it's always that you actually don't know what you're buying at the end of the day.
Yes, that's right. You really don't.
No.
Until you find a few of these quirky things.
Yes. But that's been resolved, and I think that property, it's renting at 975. I think then we looked at that not long ago though, and the rents are jumping up again into the it was what, $1,200 a week. It's looking like as a renewal when that property comes up again in October, November for the tenant.
Yep. Yeah, I was monitoring the market, doing my quarterly reviews, just writing some notes. Yeah. And there are houses going in the area that aren't renovated that were going for 1,100 to 1,200 a week.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm just like, shocked. Imagine if we could, get that. That brings us so much closer to paying down the debt, or like for us to move in there, or potentially keeping it as an investment. Like it's just
Absolutely.
open right now.
Yeah. Well, look,
Yeah.
there's no rush because the property is, even with interest rates going up, and I remember you did have to stretch to get the mortgage on that property as well and get there. But I think at the end of
Yes.
the day, when the time comes and you're settling in with your family and you reach that point in your life, it is going to be a beautiful place, and you'll be happy that it's there and just waiting for you.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I love that.
Okay. Awesome. So, I know that you and Marv are very, very goal focused. And, even just from our conversations together last year was, quite a game changing year for you. So maybe do you want to talk a little bit through that? Because I think there's some really cool things in there that you and Marv have done.
Yeah. So before we got the property, we really the second property, sorry, in 2022, we really focused on lowering our expenses. Marv had a personal tool loan with work that we wanted to get rid of, and I also had a credit card that was limiting our borrowing capacity quite a bit. So we got rid of that, got rid of both of them. And we were just really reviewed our expenses, and we were like, why do we need all of these subscriptions? Or, we can consolidate some of them in some way, or just do without, because there's a lot of unnecessary spending that we were finding. Yeah,
I
so
remember you doing your budget review at the start of last year, actually, and going through that together, and you picking it
yes.
apart. And it was a really good exercise to actually write all of that down. I know we do that too on a consistent basis, keep everything written down and make sure we know what's going on with our money.
Yeah, it's so important, because otherwise your money can just keep disappearing from these expenses or subscriptions, and you're like, where is all my money going?
There's always
So
conscious decisions, right? Like I want to, you get this future set up, and in the meantime, we're just leaking money out the door down this way. So it's just being able to make those conscious decisions and set yourself up.
yeah, and Afterpay, I was big on Afterpay. And I loved what you said to me. You said, remember, when you use Afterpay, you are stealing money from your future self.
Yeah,
And that hit me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that.
no,
You're literally robbing your future self's pay, even though it helps with a lot of things sometimes, but why not just save a little bit more, and then,
yeah,
don't rob yourself.
yeah. We've grown up in such a culture of, instant gratification. I want something, I want it now. I'm going to borrow the money and get it and
Yeah.
figure it out later. And that's really not how we build wealth for ourselves at the end of the day. If we
Yeah.
want to set ourselves up for a better future, we've got to be more conscious with how we spend our money and what we're doing.
Mm.
I know, like, even just to get rid of like your bad debt, you sold, I think you sold a car.
Yes, we sold one of our cars, and now we car share, which has also been a bit of a blessing from COVID, because I work from home 100% now. So we have the ability to do that.
Yes.
Also, we moved back in with mum and dad, so we did all of the things. So yeah, now we live with mum and dad, which is fantastic. Really, really grateful for the opportunity, because our living is only so low. Mum and dad take care of everything, which is so amazing. Thank you.
And I think you paid them back a little bit by maybe helping them with some of their.
Oh yes, I certainly did.
Yeah.
I sat mum and dad down and was just like, look, what are you doing for your retirement? Because they come from beliefs and parents who were always under the belief of only have like really low debt, paid off as soon as possible. Money's bad, or there was quite a lot of limiting beliefs, and I'm noticing that I'm slowly unpicking that, and creating more positive beliefs, because the words that we speak literally have an effect on our behaviors and how we actually go about things. And I think it's quite physically limiting too, just having the words in our brain.
You're giving me goosebumps, but yes, 100%.
Yeah, really firm believer, and not boohooing mum and dad at all. Like they are doing the best that they can with the knowledge that they have.
Correct.
But they just didn't have the knowledge to plan for retirement, because of course that's what our super's for, or the government, to support us. But I'm looking at statistics, like hearing statistics now through PRE and through a lot of other sources, and retiring on the government pension it's like below minimum wage, or that's
for a
not a good
couple, it's like
lifestyle.
$36,000 a year as a couple. That's insane.
Oh, no thanks. So
No.
that was a huge motivator for me, realizing these things. And then I sat mum and dad down and said, what are you doing for your retirement? And they were like, what do you mean? I said, you've almost paid off your home. You have so much equity. Why don't we buy you an investment property? And that kind of got the cogs turning in Dad's head. And he was like, okay, so yeah, let's do this. So, because the whole goal is for Marv and I to move up to the Gold Coast. My sister's already there.
Yes.
So mum and dad, when we have babies, they would definitely want to be around their grandbabies.
Yeah.
So then, I did basically everything because it was quite overwhelming for them. So I wanted to help support them in every way that I could. They bought a property in Palm Beach, 760,000, a street back from the beach.
Beautiful.
And it's been rented out at $950 a week, which is crazy. So it's over 8% yield, which is, it's amazing. They're so shocked and they're so happy, and it's really awesome because their money's actually working for them now. They
And then
have
they've got that goal that when they do move, when you all end up on the Gold Coast, they've got somewhere to go, and they're going to have a whole family will be around, and everything's just set up and waiting, and there's no last minute stress of trying to sort things out, and just knowing that you've got that plan there in place as a family, I think is powerful as well.
Yeah, for sure. Imagine retiring and then moving and then trying to find a house, but they've already got that house, so well, apartment. So there's one less thing to worry about.
So Courtney, what are some of the biggest lessons that you think you've got out of being an investor and getting to the point that you're at the moment? Because this is only just the beginning. We know that we are working on how to get you to the next property at the moment.
I'm getting itchy feet. We already want to buy a property again.
Just for anyone listening, my most successful clients are the clients that meet with me regularly and in a very lovely way nag the crap out of me, which Courtney definitely do. It does get results, right? Like be the squeaky wheel and make the noise, and it does get results. If you sit back and be complacent, it doesn't work. So Courtney, biggest lessons?
Well, with Marv's accident that happened yesterday and the surgery today, he can't work for a month, so that means no overtime. So right now the lesson of having a buffer in place is super strong. So we do have a life buffer, and a little bit of a few property buffers, but not as much as what we would probably want. So that's going to be a huge focus as well moving forward, but also a lesson because you don't know what's around the corner. And if you don't have those buffers, it can put us in a lot of stress. So again, like planning for our future selves, then we can sleep easier at night. I think that is very alive for me right now.
Yeah, and buffers are really important. Like it is, you've taken these steps to get to here, and then if you don't have those buffers in place, it only takes a small change in life, and suddenly you've got to maybe sell something, or you undo what you've already done purely because you've just not kind of been in that place where you've got everything set up. And I know, personally, my husband and I, we're this year is about buffers and consolidation. There's potential changes for us. So it's all about consolidation and building our buffers higher this year, even with rising interest rates, but still building our buffers even higher at the moment. So it's a big year for that.
Yeah, for sure. Cannot agree more. I also have a lesson around our mental chatter, and again, it's alive now with potentially limiting beliefs around money and not having that overtime come in. Our mind is our most powerful tool, and we can get swallowed up in those limiting beliefs if we let it. But as Marv and I were literally just having this conversation, and we're able to bounce off each other and say, everything's going to be okay. This is going to be a distant memory. And just like building each other up that way. I think we are so much stronger together when we can, if one of us is feeling down, the other one is just like, hey, I got you.
Yeah.
And it makes this journey more exciting and also more powerful, I believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Working together as a team is huge. And I think, again, that was one of the reasons I really wanted to have a chat. It's just such a shame Marv can't be here today because I know he's come from a bit of a challenging background as well, which we won't share, and had to kind of rebuild himself as well as part of the journey. And he's just come such a long way. Which is just amazing, and a testament to his own mindset and ability to just step up and move forward and not let past experiences kind of drag him down either. So
yeah, for sure. He has not had strong role models at all, and for him to be the person that he is today is just so heartwarming and inspiring at how he is able to reframe without any mentors as well. Like, we have a few mentors around us now, but he
didn't
just
before.
came such fun. And that I'm just like, wow, where did that come from? Like, you're amazing. I'm so inspired.
Yeah. Awesome. So in terms of, we'll kind of wrap up and just say, if Courtney, if you were to go back to Courtney who's just stepped into the adult life, what would be your piece of advice to that Courtney?
Yes. As cliche as it is, start earlier. I listen to a lot of these podcasts and they say start sooner. And really just seeing the market move and the values of property, starting sooner would, we would be able to retire a lot sooner, but you don't know that until
that's right. Yeah.
Hindsight, and you get a little bit older and more experienced. So yeah, I think that is the biggest thing that I would mention for little Court.
Yeah. And often though, even the ability to start sooner though for some people is you don't know what you don't know, which can be a real challenge. And like you stumbled on a property with a friend and go, oh yeah, I've got $5,000. Okay, I'll pay a deposit. Now what? The climate opened up a whole world for you. Although you obviously have parents that have a home and probably already saying to you, at some point, buy a home, buy a home, buy a home.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm having holidays, I'm traveling, I'm doing this. And so, but start early. It's, I think everyone says that, and it's, thankfully, you're not too old at the moment, which is
Yeah, 31.
31. You're 20 years younger than me, which is
Mum's
great.
28, so he's in
Yeah,
the 20s. He's going good.
yeah. So you guys are just doing amazing. So look, Courtney, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I absolutely love chatting with you. Then I think it'd be awesome to have a follow-up chat with you guys after maybe your next acquisition and meet Marv, because
Yes,
we've absolutely missed him today. It's just poor timing, and desperately hope that his injury is going to be okay reasonably quickly for you both, and for him that it does recover really well. We won't use any puns in there like we did in
thank
our
you.
pre-chat.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being on the podcast today, and I look forward to our next meeting.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Hey, thanks for listening to Property Investor Tales. Remember to subscribe so you get notified every time a new episode drops. As you can guess, I love hearing people's property investor tales. So if you'd like to share yours, then please get in touch with me via email at propertyinvestortales@positivementor.com.au. We would also love your feedback, and I would appreciate a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Remember, you can watch all of these podcasts over on YouTube at Positive Mentor or at positivementor.com.au. Until then, take care, happy investing, and bye for now.